Ponytails podcast. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ponytails podcast. I am Andres Gamboa. Welcome to the show. If this is your first episode, welcome. Glad you are here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, follow us, leave us a review. We're on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on there, you can leave us a review. If you're listening on Spotify, leave us a rating on the stars with little stars. It could be 1 star. It could be 5 stars. I don't give a shit. Just tell us what you think. Be honest about it. That's what we like. We're honest about it too. This is the show that interviews people who sold books door to door with Southwestern Advantage. Now, we're not affiliated with Southwestern Advantage. We're just alumni of the internship. And, you know, a couple of years ago, almost now, we decided to talk to people who did this crazy job because the stories that we told on it were insane. And so we thought it would make for a good podcast. And so far, so good. We're 108 episodes in, and I'm excited for our guest today. Austin Heron is on the show with us today. We air live every Thursday at 7 Central. Sunday, typically at 4 Central, but, you know, we're flexible because Sundays are Sundays. And so today we happen to do it at 7 Central too. Who cares? It's our show. We can do whatever we want. So now, on that note, a couple of announcements for you guys. First of all, before we get to BIZZLER, well, actually, we'll do BIZZLER actually because it's related. BIZZLER is coming up August 15th through the 19th. That's if you don't know, again, if this is your first episode or if this is the first time you're actually listening to these announcements, it's important for you to know August 15th through the 19th, we're throwing a party in Cancun with a bunch of other alumni, and we're going to be doing a bunch of different activities, you know, the good old slosh ball, the good old volleyball tournament, maybe a couple of networking stuff. But more than anything, it's just an opportunity to have fun. This is not an opportunity to do some sort of MLM thing. There was like a rumor going around that that's what we were trying to do, is recruit people for some sort of MLM. That is not what's going to happen. Sorry to disappoint anybody who thought that's what it was going to be. And if that's why you don't want to go, well, you know, that's okay. But now that you know that it's not about that, well, hell, come on, party with us August 15th. The last day to sign up, though, is coming up May 1st. So you guys want to make sure you sign up by May 1st. And that's the way that you can do that is there's a form, a Google form that's in the description of the episode below. So whether you're listening or you're on YouTube, if you just scroll down, there's going to be a little link that says sign up for BIZZLER here. Click on that thing, fill it out. It's $1,500 per person, just so you guys know. It could fluctuate depending on if you're just staying in a room by yourself or if you're coming with a spouse. Spouses are welcome, but we are keeping it to only people who sold books. So that'd be ideal. Let's say if you sold books and your spouse didn't, they're more than welcome to. But if you're listening to this and you didn't sell books, sorry, you're not invited. You should have gone and sweated and cried in a corner on Tuesdays in the summer. That's what you should have done. Anyway, sorry. That's how it is. Make sure you guys sign up for that. We're getting ready for our trip with Elevate Wellness. So Elevate Wellness is one of our partners. It's ran by Seth Hood, Zane Gallagher, Joe Ignis, and I think they just hired another person on. We'll have to confirm with them. But basically, they're the ones that are getting us into shape to be able to look as good as possible, in actually as good as ever, probably in August. And so if you guys are not going to BIZZLER, but you're looking to kind of get into shape for the summer, you need that summer bod, you're not too late. There's a 6-week program that you can get involved with. It's pretty simple to go through. It's very hard to go through, but it's pretty simple. Now, Seth and Zane do a good job of helping us stay in shape by not just only the workouts that they provide, which are new to me. I've been in a gym rat for a while, and even the stuff that they have been doing is pretty cool and new and exciting. But the nutrition side of it is what I got to brag about. My weight has been cut, and it's visible that you can see how much change my body's going through just because I've started eating a lot better. And, you know, it's not something crazy where I'm like only eating broccoli for 7 days a week. It's actually kind of nice. So it's good. It's good balance. I have a great diet. And so it's exciting. I'm excited to share all the results at the end of our run here once we see you guys in Mexico. So that's everything about BIZZLER. On that note, second note that's coming up on April 22nd, we are launching or doing our second launch for our beer. So yesterday in Gainesville, we threw a party for a bunch of people. We gave them a bunch of beer that we brewed. Well, technically someone on our team did. Heather Dutton down in Florida, she brewed our beer, and it was exciting to have a bunch of people come and try it. So we launched that, and then we're having another little get together meeting congregation thing for alumni only. and that one is by RSVP. If you want to know how to get invited to that, make sure you guys reach out to us on our Instagram, on our Facebook, and it'll be a Nashville party down in April 22nd. That's going to be at 6:30 in the evening in Nashville. And where, you're asking, where is this party going to be, Andres? It's going to be at Lee McCroskey's house. So that is exciting. We're going to be doing it for about 3 hours. There's going to be a pool, floor fire pit, really cool get together, and a beer tasting. It's going to be like a wine tasting kind of vibe. So do come a little bit dressed up, and you can kind of taste our beer and kind of network with whoever else is there. So keep an eye on that. RSVPs are going to be going out, and invitations are going to be going out this week. So we're excited for that one. We are brought to you by Will Metscher. Will is a cool human, and Will is someone who has been helping us out from the beginning of the year when we started partnering with him to kind of coach us in the right direction, how to improve. And so that's what he is doing now. If you guys are looking to do something else, maybe you're not very satisfied with what you're doing for work, or you kind of wanted to get back into the sales life or the coaching life, keeping people accountable and making sure that they're hitting their goals and doing better with their lives. Maybe you can help Will help others. And so what we're doing now is Will's looking for coaches, other people to help him coach human beings who are either doing really well or looking to grow, and just push them to their best selves. And so now that's something that you can join us with, and we can give you Will's contact. If you just message us, we will put it out that you're looking to do something else with your life, and you guys can join Will on that venture. That is all as far as the announcements today. So now it's time to bring on our guest. Austin Heron is with us. So let's see. Let's join him right. Boom. Let's see if he can join us. There it is. What's up, brother?
How we doing, man?
Just taking over the world. That's what I'm trying to do.
You've practiced those announcements a few times, huh?
Actually, no, that's just rolling off the tongue. I mean, I've done it several times, but every time you're different, and I'm just like, I have no script or nothing here. This is just, that's it.
Absolutely. But I love the riffing. I love the little personality added to it too. It's good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I was chuckling. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Maybe it's just the IV therapy talking, but.
Do you want to show people what you're doing right now? You're taking steroids. If you're listening, if you're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify,
obviously
you're not watching this.
How freaking jacked I am. So
just to elevate wellness. That's not part of the fitness.
Yeah, right. So yeah, we got a little bit of IV therapy going. This is actually my first time doing it. It's hanging in that nice, beautiful window that's absolutely washing out the camera right now because of all the light, but you got a little snapshot from it. But yeah, this is my first time doing it. My mouth tastes like someone just dumped a bunch of vitamins into it, so it's got to be good for me.
Wow. I don't even know what that sounds like or that tastes like, but damn.
You know, like Flintstone gummies or Flintstone vitamins. Yeah, that's what it tastes like in my mouth right now.
Yummy.
Damn. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Oh, bro. Well, let me brag about you for a second, and we'll jump into the episode. My man Austin here sold for 4 summers from 2015 to 2018. A member of the TD organization, went to Central Michigan University, just a stud, and is now currently, well, actually, that's what we're going to talk about. So let's jump into that. Tell us what you're doing. What are you preparing to do? I know, but you can tell the crowd. What are we working on? What are you up to now? And let's jump into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So after Southwestern, I started selling with Aptive Environmental, which is residential pest control sales. So this is my 4th summer with them. And right now I'm in St. George, Utah. We're in preseason right now. So basically anybody that's out of school, typically team leaders or experienced reps, will go out a month early to, maximize the time they have selling. And so kind of get the rust knocked off, get things going before rookies come out. That way, we have a little pad before the first month of May when rookies get out there. And most of our focus is just making sure they're able to do the job correctly and self-sustaining before we can focus more back on our sales as well. So
right,
that's where I am currently.
Already a difference between the preparation process and the training process of Southwestern. Is a lot more preparation on the manager end, it seems like.
No, absolutely. Yeah. It's cool. I think I like sales school is such a fun experience, and Southwestern, especially your first time as a rookie going off to sell books. like when you get there and you just see a bunch of people with backpacks running around, it's kind of like a culture shock. But then, I mean, the fire hose of information is awesome, and it's such a good week of just realizing how much you can do in a day. But I do like the aspect of our training where as soon as you sign, which typically we're signing most of our reps in fall, winter time, early, in like January is when we try to get most of our reps signed on. We're consistently training week by week up until the summer, which I think is very beneficial, especially for rookies.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. And I mean we had Aston, Aaron Raleigh on the show, and of course Nick, when they both talked about Aptive and kind of like some of the differences and subtleties. But from your standpoint, I guess, I mean, what have you noticed that's a little different? What have you noticed that's similar and throughout maybe of the whole process, whether it's the recruiting or the selling?
Yeah, so similarities. Obviously, the job is still all mindset and attitude. You can be the best salesman in the world, but if you don't have a good attitude and you're not able to handle rejection and stay even keel throughout the day and not get on the emotional roller coaster that can be sales, especially door-to-door sales, then it's not going to be a good summer. So still the same there. I would just say there's subtleties, like I'm sure folks who have listened before have heard with Aaron and Nick talking with our schedule. We have I would say a little bit of balance, but it's still an intense summer. We're working Monday through Saturday, but we have morning meetings in the morning where we're meeting up with the team, everybody on our team with all of our reps, which is nice, and going through role plays. And doing more training, and then we ride out to turf with car partners, and we meet up for lunch, and then Saturdays we typically work only until like 5 or 6. So I think the schedule allows for just more accountability, which that part of knocking door. Yeah, so it's kind of nice. It's just a reminder that there's other people out there with you. I guess it just is a reminder of the community that's out there working with you at the same time. Because obviously in books, when you're out in the, BFE in Texas or South Carolina, it's hard to remember that you're not the only human being on earth sometimes, especially at 3:00 when, no one's answered, and it's hot and you're sweaty. So that's what I think is the biggest difference with this is the schedule and the accountability aspect of it, and has been the biggest help for me growing in my own personal sales and my confidence and my self-belief in what I can do. Is the schedule has definitely benefited myself.
Wow, that's pretty good, man. I feel like there's something there to be said about. I think this has come up before on the show when we talked to European friends, or we talked to other people who know about European schedules, where like they have in the book business, they have like a shorter schedule. Like the Europeans don't start till like 9 a.m. knocking, and then they actually get done right as it gets dark, unless they have appointments, which I think is kind of where they're moving towards more now, the United States folks. But I always thought like knocking on someone's door at like 7:30 in the morning was, if you don't have an appointment, is like what? Because you're like, even if they have little kids, it's like parents usually like to sleep in on Saturday mornings. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it works for them. So
if you didn't work turf, or if you didn't know how to set up morning gravy well, then it was some dicey knocks. Definitely.
Dude, I got kicked out of towns because of that before. Now I'm not saying this is something to you. So if you're selling books right now, it doesn't mean don't let us get you off schedule. Do your thing. But for me, I was just like, shit. I just got the cops called. The brown dude with tattoos.
I would usually save like trailer parks for going and knocking in the middle of the night. Just because I feel like that was a little bit more, I don't know, people are just a little bit more chill there. And
they don't call the cops.
Yeah, and sometimes they're just outside. So
Dude, it's so funny how who taught you that? Did you just learn that by yourself, or did someone teach you that?
So Christian Abay, and to be honest, he would say, find people either in trailer parks or, for some reason, Hispanics stay up super late. So I would always save
Yes.
Hispanic families because they're the
Yeah.
chosen ones when it comes to books. I one selling books just learned to love their culture so much because of how, family focused they are. Like they will do anything in the world for their children, which is awesome. And a lot of times they
Yeah.
don't have the resources either.
Yeah.
And obviously that comes from, the journey that they have, moving to America or wherever they are or moving off to find a better opportunity. And so I just, always found that always vibe very well with Hispanic families.
Hell yeah, dude. I believe it or not, my entire career, I sold in upstate New York and New England, and
Hmm.
I think I ran into like 3 Hispanic families my entire 4 summers selling
Really, bro?
books. Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
I never got a chance to be like, I was so excited because I'm like, if I find a lot of them, then it's gonna
Yeah.
be like instant rapport. I'm like,
Yeah.
hola, hey, like that's all I
Yeah.
could say. To that point, all 3 of them that I met, they did buy.
Yeah.
Most notably my third summer one, which is a cool one of my favorite stores from the book field. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Like they're also honestly, as a Hispanic, they're probably less likely to call the cops because it's
Yeah.
like fuck that.
Yeah.
It's just a white
Yeah.
dude, right? They're not scared
Yeah.
of a white kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Facts. Yeah, that's so
But
true.
yeah, on the other hand, yeah, but see, nobody taught me trailer parks. That's just something I figured out on my own. Like it's just
Yeah.
funny how we all do that, and then we call it good when we know that's really not what it is. Like what
Yeah.
that's not the actual knock. I mean, technically you knocked on a door at 7:30, but it wasn't
Yeah.
really a
It's
knock.
like driving to turf and like knocking on a house 30 minutes outside of the actual area you plan on knocking on that day just to get, your start time
Yeah.
before, 7:30
Yeah.
or 8.
Yeah. So why not just start at 9? You know what I mean? And then
Right?
it's good. No person's gonna get mad at you for knocking at 9 in the morning on a
Yeah.
Saturday even. Some people might be cranky, but it's still 9. It's fair game. Like things are happening, man. Like
Yeah.
go ahead, right? Stores are opening.
Yeah.
7:30 though. Ooh, especially like if you lived at the beginning of the summer where you always start like to the turf that's closest to you and your
Yep.
breakfast spot,
Yeah.
and you're like the least experienced.
Yes, bro.
And
Yeah.
it's like week 2, Saturday, number 2. You kind of like
Yeah.
got trashed the first week, just trying to get it together. It's been a rough
Yeah.
week too.
Yep.
7:12.
Yeah. Knees are shaking at the door. You're just shaking like a leaf. No, absolutely. No, I think, have you ever read the book Happiness Advantage?
Yes, Sean Eichhorn. No, Sean.
Yes. Yeah.
That was
That's
the
him.
same.
Sean, I'm gonna
Reinhorst.
mispronounce it.
Something.
Acker. It's
Sean Aker. Sean
ACHL.
Aker.
Aker. There you go. So no, absolutely. I think with this schedule, I don't know. It's just way easier to keep your mentals and your chickens in check. Shout out to who said that? Marshawn Lynch. Yeah,
Yeah,
Marshawn Lynch said that.
that's right. It's a great
And
book,
so
by the way.
yeah, it is a great book. I mean, what I love about that book is um, how it teaches you to look at happiness in such a different way that happiness isn't a destination. Obviously it's learning to enjoy the process. And so I think the schedule that we have here is just it's way easier to be able to enjoy the process because you have some personal time for yourself to just kind of decompress after the day, eat a good dinner, cook yourself a meal at night, work out in the morning if you like to. And then on Saturdays, we, are able to go out with the team. And like I said before, the summer is still a grind and, we're there to work, but those, extra hours that we do have definitely make a big difference. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. I can't. The diminishing returns, right, of like all those extra hours that the book kids are doing. I mean, it's got to take a toll by week 12.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And don't get me wrong, the schedule we worked at Southwestern is probably one of the reasons why we've had found a lot of success here, just because we were so used to the schedule we worked with Southwestern. Like coming here and the schedule we worked here, it just felt like a normal job, kind of like a breath of fresh air. But we're still working 60, 70 or 60, 65 hours a week with like our morning meetings. So still a lot of
I mean,
work.
it's still knocking indoors in the sun for sure. I mean, it's like you're
Yeah.
still eating shit for a while. So I get it. I get it. And it's rough. I mean, the biggest difference from what I understand from Aaron's episode is the money. I mean,
Yeah.
the money makes sense even more so with all those
Yeah.
hours. So you better be if you're making that kind of money, But
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely more lucrative. I think anything you're selling a service with reoccurring subscription, recurring subscription fee. Obviously, we're selling a little bit higher ticket item, and also our target market and our ideal customer is almost anybody in a home. So that opens up a lot of opportunities than just looking for families. And plus, I felt that was also beneficial was not having to do as much pre-approach. I mean, obviously, you still do pre-approach in here in pest control. Mainly, it's like looking for signs of life on a home. So, like looking to see if the trash cans are still out by the street and it's trash day. Obviously, someone's not home if they haven't brought their trash cans up, typically, unless they're just a lazy piece of shit. But it happens. Yeah. Looking to see if there's oil stains in the driveway and there's no cars there. Obviously, they're not home because they typically park in the driveway. Or if there's tracks into the driveway, that means that garage parkers or the blinds are open. So I found that not having to think as much between doors in this and just being able to go to the next door, go to the next door, go to the next door without having to get a pre-approach or think where I'm trying to go next just helped me to be able to focus so much more on the activity of selling rather than just getting to my next prospect, which just helped with me because I'll be honest, I was super off schedule in my book summers. And so with this, along with the accountability that in the schedule that we have and just the prospecting process being so much simpler, I found it so way easier for me just to stay focused on the task at hand.
God, well, that's there's so much there. There's so much there to even comment on. Well, first of all, I hope like Dustin Hillis and Dan Moore are listening to this, and maybe a bell goes off in their head, and it's like, what would happen if your rookies you had them sell from like dark, like like 9 to dark, which changes throughout the summer, and then all your overachievers, which we're going to overachieve anyway, you really train once they got those fundamentals down, you train them on how to set appointments and just focus on that because clearly they got the fundamentals down to sell. And then all of a sudden by week 6, you have a lot of rookies who are really, really motivated, who are already selling the typical schedule anyway, because they are that kind of motivated people which those were going to be those kids anyway, right? The off schedule kids and there's nothing wrong with necessarily having unless you're like completely off schedule all day type thing, but like, if you're still selling but you're a little bit more lazy, I guess if you want to call it through the Southwestern eyes, really what that means is if you want to take more mental breaks because it's sane to do so and nobody's blaming you for that. So you shouldn't feel guilty about it. That's really the place. Then that's okay. Go ahead and do that and still work your hours. And who knows, maybe a person like you with that kind of like schedule would have done a much better job of staying on schedule during your book days because that just makes too much fucking sense, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know.
No, absolutely. That reminded me of what was I going to say? It just kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, I totally agree with you. For me, brain fart. Just lost.
It's all good. We were talking about like the how if Southwestern implemented a more not lighter, but just like more secure schedule.
Go. Yep. Now I remember what I was going to say. Yeah. So I think that's what our schedule does or the way our schedule is set up is really beneficial for just basically appeasing to the standard rep, not the overachiever, not the underachiever. Like you have to be a hard worker if you want to do well with this schedule, and you got to be able to stay focused and on task. But I think we do a good job of not scaring away some people who are still not fully bought in to what they're doing and what they're getting into that summer. And then, once you're 3-4 weeks in, then you can start, showing those, average reps or underachieving reps. Okay, look at the correlation between the overachievers and how much extra hours they're working on Saturday. They're not stopping at 4 or 5. They're deciding to work the rest of the day on Saturday, or they're setting up, late night appointments. And so it's way easier, I think, for people to acclimate to this schedule and then want to work more because they see, oh, if I just work more, I'm going to make more sales and the money's good. So I might as well just work more.
Wow. I mean, right there alone, if anybody Southwestern is listening, maybe there's a drop of suggestion for you. Hey, we don't know. It's 160 years old, so maybe don't change it, but also, innovate. I don't know. Fucking just something, man. Like, can you believe it was like 2012, my first summer, and the website was like barely a thing? I think it was just like the first year it was like full operational. And it's like, guys, the internet was invented 12 years ago. In internet times, that's a long time. Like,
yeah, bro.
Guys, how did it take you this long to innovate? And now they have, but then it's just like they're catching up, It's so they're not the best at innovating. That's the problem with tradition and being the oldest internship in America is maybe innovation is a weakness. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. We weren't perfect either. So it's all good. It's all good.
I've always thought that they should do, honestly, like kind of drop books and just stick to completely customizable subscriptions. So based on your kids' age range, based on their struggles or weaknesses or their strengths or weaknesses in school, like you can pick what content that they want on their portal or whatever it is for their subscriptions, and have different price ranges for it, and then pay reps the residual off of those subscription based websites, and honestly do a contract with it so that they're at least have to be with them a year or 18 months, whatever it is.
You should be, and no offense to Dustin or anybody work, but you should be a part of their like executive team, dude. Look at that. You just created a solution you just created the retention solution. Can you imagine if you told the rookie, listen, any websites that you sign up, drop the book. So not only does that save us money on the overhead cost of all the shipping that everybody's paying, both on the company side and the customer side and the rep side, because really the company doesn't pay for shipping. It's the customer.
Yep.
And then the rep has to pay the shipping on the way back if they need to ship the books back, right?
Yeah.
So all the money that you save on storage units even, right?
Yeah.
Like gone, right?
Yeah.
Then you're also giving them the option to say, look, it's your first summer. You just got done with your freshman year of college. Might as well do this for 4 summers because everything that you sell is going to actually be residual to you for your entire college career. So by the time that you get done with your 4th summer, you have actually accumulated 1,200 customers over 4 different summers. How likely are you to stay for a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th summer?
Yep.
To build a team, to have that residual come out of them, which they already kind of do, right?
Yeah.
To come back every summer.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Southwestern Advantage. You're welcome. Can we copyright that? Let's copyright that. That's Austin Haynes and Andres Gamboa's new business strategy plan.
We should just stop the podcast now.
Yep. I just send this straight to Dustin. Like, to whom it may concern, skip to minute 24. You're welcome. That's legit, dude. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Good. Look at you. Look at your brain. Check out the big brain on Austin.
It's the liquid IV, man. I'm gonna blame everything on that.
Oh, that's epic, dude. Hell yeah. Cool. Dude. So yeah, Aptive sounds like a fun time. I know I know there was like some people that were upset at the way that like, and this is like common for everybody, but when book kids leave to go on something else, they always get pissy with it. And it's like, dude, come on, move on. it's okay. People go. Buying atmosphere. Let them go. It's okay.
Exactly. I always was kind of confused at that because obviously it's always sold as a launching pad to your next career and just setting you up for foundational skills of success to just do well in life and whatever you're going to go off to. But obviously they're a business and want to continue building the business, so I understand why their belief has to be high. And but you're right, I think there has to be a little bit more buy-in atmosphere with it too as well. And I wouldn't say that I left in the best way. Like, for example, I was actually going to sell one more summer for a 5th summer and had not recruited anybody for that summer at all, and just was not in a good place mentally. And at that point, it just had felt like nothing had changed up in that point in me except the date and the time. and I hadn't. I didn't think I was in a better spot than I was the previous summer, and didn't see it going, better than my last 4 summers. And I just felt like I was going to continue down this cyclical path of just being off schedule, because it just became a habit at that point of starting and stopping and starting and stopping, where Nick Warner gave me a call like a week before the summer started, where I was going to go to drive down to sales school, because I had told Sam Warner that, I had saw a Snapchat that Sam Warner posted of them selling pest control. I was like, man, I wish I was out there with you guys. And he told Nick, Nick called me, and then the next day I made the decision to go to Aptive. And so that was like 5 days before I was supposed to go down to sales school.
Oh, that pissed people off.
Yeah. So, and it was the right decision. I think that I wasn't in a great, place mentally, and I think I would have brought, that much to the team, just probably another experienced rep to, live with some rookies. So, and then obviously the experience I've found here has been exponentially better than my own personal sales experience. Not to say that I had a bad experience in Southwestern because of their program. It was mainly just because of, my own stupid mistakes and not following the schedule that was laid out for me.
Well, first of all, congratulations, and beanie off, I guess, since I have a beanie, but beanie off to you for following and taking ownership of the reasons why, things didn't work out as well as you wanted them to. Because most people are like, oh, it's a cult and they don't like it. And you're like, no, that is not true either. There's a lot of people that go sell a lot of books and they're really, really good at it. And that's fantastic for them. But some people don't. And it's all because of you. So you taking ownership of that is great. That's a good move, and that's commendable, because most people don't even get that far. That's where their Southwestern daddy issues start, is they don't take ownership of like that part. That's like, hey, it was because of you, right?
Yeah.
People sell a lot of books, right?
Yep.
There's some that are uglier than you.
Yep.
There's some that is not as smart as you, and they sell more books than you do because they're working harder than you do. And that's okay. Just own it.
Yep.
And then you can move on. That's what I had to do, right? And so I commend you for that. That's hard to do. On the other hand, also, they shouldn't be so pissy about you like leaving, because honestly, as an org leader, if I was an org leader and I had a manager that I know is probably going to be off schedule because he's been off schedule for 4 summers on and off, right? I'd be like, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
See ya. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
See ya. I understand. Yeah. Go on. But they have this like hang on to everything vibe, and it leaves people in a really bad place. It gives them this bad taste in their mouth, unfortunately. That's just the truth.
Yeah, I think one of the only reasons, honestly, if I started out door to door with pest control and had been, as off schedule as I was in some of my summers with Southwestern, I probably wouldn't be still with Aptive. They would have probably let me go after my first summer. And so I think the only reason I was around, like stayed around Southwestern so long was one, my claim to fame in TV was I was one of the best like roommates basically. And almost every summer, none of the rookies with me quit whatsoever, because, I always kept a really good mood and really good attitude, and no one knew what was happening in the background, throughout my days. So
nice.
But
Same.
so I felt pretty good about not bringing other people down into my bullshit. So
that's huge too, man. That's a team player. You were a team player that just was ready for something else, and that's all right. Fuck, who cares? You did great.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, so now let's wind the clocks back really quick. Before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about some of our partners, but where we're going now for folks that are listening is we're about to chat about your origin story. Now, I want to hear, I'm excited. So while I'm doing this, think about like, roll your clock back and be like, all right, where the heck was I? Try to, I don't know if you have any stories written down, but this would be a good moment to like have them ready for us. But I just want to chat a little bit about do you remember Pat Roach? Did you ever watch him do like a keynote address?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yep. Pat's the shit, man, and he runs Southwestern Real Estate. So we're working with Southwestern Real Estate to help them grow their team. I don't know that they need much help because it's expanding so quickly. They're in 14 different states. So if you've ever been interested in real estate and maybe it's kind of time for you to move on to the next thing, maybe this is a good timing whenever you're listening to this. It could be live, it could be in a couple months from now. But if you're looking for something else to do, you love real estate, but you're looking to get into it in a culture that's really positive and maybe just take the positive side of Southwestern Advantage in a culture that's healthy and helps you grow, this is the place for you. Reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with Pat. Super awesome. 99% drama free, as Pat likes to say. And more than anything, it's just a really fun environment. A lot of the people that we found on the show have been our agents with them, and it's just only positive reviews. Same as Aptive. So cool. We're also brought to you by Martine and Lukasz. Martine and Lukasz, Martine Cow, Lucas Biscup. They're actually both current book guys. They're awesome dudes. Do you know Martine, Austin?
Yep.
Dude.
Yep. I met him on the last Sizzler I was on.
Hell yeah. And do you know Lukasz too?
I don't know if I know Lukasz. I probably have to see the face.
Dude, they're just two really cool dudes. You know what I'm talking about? Just really nice people. But they're DJing. Wait, what? I can't really do the DJ sound. Hopefully, but so the point is, that's what you could have at your wedding, my DJ sounds, or you could have a legit DJ and have it kill it and bring the party to you or and to your event. And that's Martine and Lukasz. So reach out to us if you're hosting an event. They're going to be actually doing our BIZZLER event. Hell yeah. And they've done the Freddy's, they've done my wedding, they've done a couple other events that we've kind of already set them up with. So we're excited for you guys. If you guys go with Martine and Lukasz, you actually get a discount by hearing about them through us. So make sure you call us. And if you're a book person, you also get a discount. So they bring the party. They know what's going on. They know how to keep it live. And for sure, again, message us on Instagram. We'll get you set up with Martine and Lukasz. And lastly, Cardinal Insurance, Cardinal Senior Benefits. And so Greta Huerta also just got done selling books recently. You probably know Greta, Austin. She was selling right around the same time you were. Total badass chick, 5 summers, and she is so freaking cool. But she's crushing it right now. Her team is cruising. So maybe Southwestern real estate wasn't your vibe. This might be something else to look into. Big boy, big girl job, a little bit more of a grown-up type of vibe. Don't have to hunt for your leads, but we're just proud of Greta because she is raising the bar there. She jumped into that company as a rookie, broke the record, and now everybody's like crushing. So you love something like that, and you'd love to celebrate something like that. So Greta, shout out to you. She's got you. But if you guys are interested in working in the finance space, that's a good spot to land at. Couldn't recommend it more. Pedro Vega is also working with them. The chapel, or I think one of the chapel spouses is working with them as well. So more news on that. Greta, love you lads. Shout out to you. Now, Austin, my man, let's wind the clock back. So this is 2015 spring, or is it fall of 14?
So yeah, I already got recruited in spring of 2015, and so was in like a lecture hall. Obviously, they were doing the handouts, right? The questionnaires, excuse me. And so, Christian Abe was at the time recruiting at Central, and that's how I got introduced to him. V's taking out my IV drip right now.
Heavy.
Once again, shout out.
Free wax.
Heck yeah!
Shout out.
Ask her if she knows she's live on the air right now.
Do you know you're live on a podcast right now?
Oh, awesome.
She said awesome.
Ask her if she's gonna listen to it.
Are you gonna listen to it, Pete?
Maybe.
I think that's like a hard 20% maybe.
That's a hard 20% maybe. But V is probably not gonna listen to it because she's only in it for like 1%. She's like, maybe exactly. If I was the whole guest, then she'd be all about it. But
I'm sure she has some cool stories to share.
Yeah, she probably has.
Do you care if you're on the air?
No.
She doesn't care.
Okay, cool. We actually probably should have asked, so that's good that she confirmed.
My 2020 hindsight legal skills.
There you go. That's it. It's like, oh, we didn't get sued. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah.
Huge. All right. So spring 2015. So you get. Oh, maybe we should explain for people who didn't sell books what a questionnaire is, and like because we haven't done that in a while. So go ahead.
So Christian Bay comes in. I think you know Sarah Nanini.
I do not. No.
So her name is now Sarah Majeski because she's married to Jake Majeski. Jake Majeski. Yeah, his older brother. But anyway, so she was also doing the surveys with us or with Christian and handing out the questionnaires. And so what happens is they come into a lecture hall at the beginning of the class, they hand out all the questionnaires to everybody. They get in front of everybody and, basically give an elevator pitch about Southwestern. And so all I heard was college internship, you get to go to cool places, and you make, average $8,000. And I was like, well, I could probably use $8,000. Not for anything good, obviously, at that point in my lifetime, but I could probably use it, of course.
All the Tinder dates I could go on with $8,000.
And all the beer I could buy for my fraternity brothers, and be the cool guy at the parties. Heck yeah. No, so and then I got a call like a week later. Came to one of the informational settings or one of the informational meetings. I remember Snapchatting one of my buddies during it and being like, I think this is a scam. But decided to
Google it.
Yeah, but decided to sign up for an interview anyway. And so and met with Christian Abay, went through the interview process, got hired and accepted. And then at the same time, one of my fraternity brothers, Cash Garty, also was doing it too. So it was kind of cool. We were going to be going out together and we were training together. Of course, we didn't really do much training at all together before the summer because we didn't really know what we were getting into. But I trained with Christian Abay for like a month and a half. Didn't know my sales talk whatsoever. Memorized it on the way down to sales school. Probably almost died driving to Nashville, of course, like everyone else, or like 70% of people who go to sales or go to off the sell books. And then sold in. I remember I fell asleep, which was ridiculous, like during Dan Moore's like opening speech in sales school, because I had stayed up the night before and then drove 9 hours and then fell asleep during his speech. I remember Christian was bumping me, like waking me up, but I was absolutely exhausted, even though he's like one of the best speakers in the world.
Yeah, dude, you can't. That's not talking about how Dan's skill is. That's more talking about how tired you were. Because if you're able to fall asleep during Dan Moore talking, you're just exhausted.
Yes. No, seriously. No, his voice is like butter. I would put him up there with Morgan Freeman and Matthew McConaughey's voice.
Absolutely, such a good speaker. I mean, I'll shut it down to watch Dan talk for sure.
No, absolutely. So and then that first summer was in Asheville, in the Asheville, North Carolina area, which was absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful,
bro. I had some of the best turf. I had the best turf in the world, but obviously didn't utilize it.
My cousin lives in Asheville, so I've been there. Okay. It's so beautiful up there, dude. Wow.
Oh my gosh, dude. I probably got to see more of it than I would have actually saw if I was, followed the schedule like I should have. So I had some cool rides at the Blue Ridge Mountain, contemplating life and my purpose and what I was doing. But nice. It was a beautiful summer. I lived with Christian Abay, Cash Garty. I remember we first got up to our host family, the Guffies, and their son had sold with Southwestern as well. I think he's a corn husker. He's from Nebraska, I believe. He went to Nebraska.
Let's go. I have to find this person. Who is it? The Guffies?
Yeah, Guffey is his last name. I can't remember his first name. It might not be Nebraska where he went to school. I can't remember though. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Stayed at their place one night because it was like only 5 miles from where our breakfast location was, but because it was up like switchback turns into the mountains, it took like 30 minutes to get up there. So we're like, there's no way we can drive this every single morning to our breakfast spot. So then that first summer, right out of the gate, had to start knocking for a place to live. And then me and Cash found this old lady named Jane Collins, which she's the most badass old lady ever. She was 89 years old. She took me, Christian, and Cash in, and had the coolest setup. She was like just up in the mountains, had this sweet view out the back deck. She that year had just gone skydiving as an 89-year-old.
Yeah. Dude, is she still alive?
No, unfortunately not. Yes, she
Damn,
was one of the
dude.
coolest ladies ever.
We're thinking about doing like a couple episodes or like maybe not a month, but maybe like a week of like a panel almost of like host families that would be
Yeah.
willing to like come on the show and have them be like honorary alumni where like they
Yeah.
share like their side of what it's like having people do this.
Yeah.
And that would have been cool to have her, but unfortunately, RIP
Yes.
Jane Collins.
Yes.
You are missed and you're eternally skydiving. Good for you.
Exactly. So yeah, that's sold that first summer in Asheville. You know, had a very poor summer. I think the first day I went off to get my permits. I started driving my T, and I saw like there was a parking lot across from the first house I was going to knock, and I was just like, I don't know if it was fear, but I just went and parked in that parking lot and was just staring at that house for like 30 minutes. And then ended up accidentally falling asleep and then like woke up an hour later and then went and knocked on the door. And the first guy was like kind of mean, but then at the end of it, he was like, "Hey man, how long have you been doing this for?" I was like, "Oh, today, this is literally the first door I've ever knocked on." He's like, "Well, hey, if you want to come sell insurance with me, I really liked how you handled yourself." And I was like, "Okay." He doesn't know that I was literally casing his house for like an hour and accidentally fell asleep.
He does now, sir. If you're in Asheville listening, this guy, he knows the pull of your door to this day.
Yep. But yeah, that summer I sold like just under 500 units. So an absolutely abysmal summer. It's like the epitome of fingers on a chalkboard. I think if someone had a sales school of how not to, do your Southwestern career, it would just be, a slideshow of my summers. And so it just like, yeah, dude, like the amount of work I put into not being like starting and stopping was probably the same amount of mental energy that it would have took just to stay on schedule. And so like something, retrospectively looking back at it is like, choose your pain. Like you're going to have pain regardless of whether or not you're on schedule, whether or not you're off schedule. And, it's only suffering if you're not, on schedule and, ensuring that it's not just pointless pain, that it's, actually growing pains. So.
Wow. Well, dude, I think that's a beautifully way to look at things and a beautiful way to say that. So good stuff right there. What were you doing when you say you spent a lot of effort? What were you doing trying to avoid this? What was, if you want to share, it's your call, but
yeah,
like,
what
was
absolutely.
it like doing that? Because maybe there's someone listening to this that's like off schedule right now and it's like June and then it's like, dude, go back to work. Here's what I did.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Dude, honestly, I think I've always had trouble with paralysis by overanalysis of tasks at hand. I've always struggled with procrastination. And so always the thought of doing something is 10 times more mentally straining than the actual activity. You tend to find out. So, once you actually get into something and stop procrastinating, you're like, okay, this isn't actually bad. I built it up way in my head. I mental mushroomed about it. And so when I knocked and when I was on schedule, I would sell and I would sell really well. And when I obviously wasn't knocking and staying on schedule and, not taking breaks, then I obviously wouldn't sell well. And so I don't know why I never had that mental click. Like each summer, something that I guess I can take some pride in. Each summer I've always grown in my 7 years of knocking door to door, never not progressed in my own personal sales. But in Southwestern, 4 summers, I went from like 400 to 700 the next summer. And then I went to like 1300. And then the last summer was like 1600. And so like that's the summers I had. And I don't know, I think, like I said, it just became more of a habit than anything. Each summer I got farther along into the summer where I was on schedule. So like my last summer, I feel like I made it like 5.5 weeks without getting off schedule. And then as soon as that happened, like Matt Ross would call it doing heroin basically. And then it's just like really hard not to, fall into that routine. So what I would say is like, don't build it up in your head that much. Cause I think sometimes it's like similar to how cigarette and tobacco companies build up how hard it is to quit, smoking cigarettes because they don't want you to, right? There's this pain of like the effort of quitting something, a bad habit, is going to be too painful, so might as well continue doing it. Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes. I never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes, and it's talked about in Atomic Habits. James Clear talks about it, how it's just built up to be way harder than it actually is. And so I found that with myself, is that I built up off scheduleness to be too hard to come back from. Whereas I should have just made an effort to, check myself right when it happened and be like, okay, that's just not me. So
That's
just
huge.
don't let it happen more than once in a row. Like if you get off schedule one time, that's fine. Forgive yourself. And I think that's something I was not good at in my Southwestern career, was forgiving myself for making mistakes. And then I would just take a break and just get into a pity party about it.
That's deep. That's deep, my sir. That's awesome. I mean, that's an awesome thing to recognize about yourself. It's not awesome that you were good at forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
But like from a standpoint of like, okay, so let's dig deeper into that. How do you forgive yourself for something? So maybe now this is getting less book related, but maybe more generally, maybe someone listening to this needs to forgive themselves for whatever thing that they did. What technique, was there anything specific that you thought about, or anything that you found that helped you kind of like snap out of it quicker?
So I think
self-talk or something. I don't know. What did you do?
Yeah. So I think one way to think about it, and I've gotten way better at this actually being out of Southwestern and being able to like just learn from all the mistakes I made during those 4 years. How would you treat your best friend if they got off schedule? Like, you wouldn't shit on them, right? You wouldn't say, man, you're a piece of shit. I don't like you wouldn't treat your best friend the way you sometimes treat yourself. So like, look at yourself as your best friend sometimes, or your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad. Like, how would you treat someone else? Like, if you're truly a good person, you treat other people really, really well. And sometimes you don't treat yourself as well as you treat other people.
That's good.
So,
Alicia Huck talked about this. We were talking about this in our episode. The link will probably be up here somewhere in the corner if you're listening, somewhere in that corner. She talked about the Untethered Soul. Have you read that book?
I have not. Nick always talks about it, which actually Nick just popped in here.
Nick?
He just got his his IV treatment done. So.
What's up, dude?
What's up, Andres? How we doing?
Dude, just taking over the world. He can't hear me.
Taking over the world. Yeah.
Dude. One podcast at a time.
So
one podcast at a time.
That's right. One podcast at a time, man. Yeah, we're talking about the Tethered Soul, and the book really does a good job of talking about it.
By the way.
Oh, what's that?
What'd you say?
I still got to get a signed copy of his book.
You still got to get a signed copy of his book.
Just send me the way I'm doing them is if you want a signed copy, I will send them to you. Just pay the shipping, and then so you can leave me a review. I will just send it to you. If you pay for the shipping, it's free, but buy it on Amazon and then give it to a friend. So that way, this is your verified purchased order, and then you can leave me a review. That's the price, is the review.
I'll let Nick catch what you just said once he listens to the podcast.
Yeah, because he's got to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
But the book is really good, and it talks specifically about that, where like your awareness, like who you are, is actually not your body and it's not your emotions. It's actually just it's just yourself, and yourself. The best thing you can do is be aware. And so being aware of your emotions is important, but more importantly, being aware that you're experiencing things, and then thinking of that voice in your head as a whole different person almost. And then how you treat that person is how you treat yourself. So it's in the same way that you were saying, it's like, if the person outside of you was standing next to you, would you punch them or would you hug them? Right. That was like the thing. Somebody said that to me once, and I was like, oh, that's huge. And that's a good way to learn to forgive yourself, because it's like, it's all about giving yourself love and yourself kindness and yourself some slack, cutting yourself some slack. That doesn't mean letting yourself get away with dumb shit.
Yeah.
There's a line there. Right. But it is like learning and teaching and motivating yourself as almost like it's a person apart from you internally. That's beautiful.
100%.
Good advice. So hopefully, if you're listening, you need to forgive yourself for that shitty thing you did. Hey, first of all, it's okay. Hug yourself.
That's right.
Give yourself a
You're
hug.
okay.
Oh, that's so cute. Now, love this. How did you decide you wanted to come back after 400 units? Like,
Dude, good question. So I think for me,
Brutal.
like during high school, I quit way too many sports that I wish I would have stayed in. So like, for example, basketball. I remember I quit after my freshman year because I didn't hit my growth spurt. I was like 5'5" and 100 pounds soaking wet. And I just never got playing time, which I love basketball. And, I would, in my like middle school years would get playing time. And then I hit freshman year and just didn't grow with everyone else. And so just didn't get any playing time and bitched out and just quit that year. And so, quit that. And there was just like a couple other things that I quit. And I was like, man, there's just this pattern of me quitting things when things get kind of tough. And so that's how I kind of viewed this. It was like, I knew that the skills that I was learning here and the people I was surrounded with were one, skills I wanted to learn, and one, skills that could propel me in the future, and two, people that I wanted to be surrounded with because just of who they were, and people ahead of me in their, walk in Southwestern or their walk in life, were people had traits and qualities that I wanted. And so that was the motivation for me. And then obviously, the prospect of, what you could possibly do in Southwestern was also motivating as well to want to come back. So it was more so me asking them if I could come back at the end of the summer. But
Clever. That's beautiful. And actually, that's true. I mean, even if like maybe people shouldn't come back to Southwestern, that's not for us to decide. That's more up to them. But it's hard to find that group of people in college. I think that was one of the hardest things about leaving, was that you're leaving the people, because whoever you go meet next just won't. It's not that they're not as good. I don't want to qualify or quantify people, but it's just different, and it's hard to find the motivation, right? So a clear example is did you ever like get someone to tell someone like in Southwestern, I'm going to run like a half marathon?
Yeah.
Right. And then they're like, yeah, of course. Or what did you just do a full? Like, that's typically Mitch Johnson. That was the thing. Mitch Johnson sold, I think, still maybe during the same time you did, around the same time.
Yeah, and, I know Mitch's.
And Danny and I were, hanging out, and he comes up to us, like, dudes, I think I'm going to start. And that's a very Mitch thing to say, dudes, I think I'm going to start I think I'm going to run a half marathon. And Danny and I looked at each other like, and Danny's like, half? I'm like, half? And he just kind of looked at us. No, I should probably run a full marathon, huh? I'm like, yeah, you should do that. Like, that is it's just so common around book people that they just believe in you so much that it's hard to, when you leave and you tell someone else, I'm going to run a half marathon. They're like, oh, that's so far.
Yeah.
You fucking crazy.
Dude.
Like,
or when you tell
and it's
people,
like, whoa.
Or when you tell people, like, for example, something I never realized is how, not even just running a half marathon, but just driving 26 miles, like how far that would drive for other people that don't do this job and how much we drive is. Yeah. It's like, wow. It's just, sorry.
It's
that's
not
just
that
like,
far.
yeah, it's a stupid comparison, but
it's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's true,
but
man.
You're totally right. It's, I think that's one of the coolest things about Southwestern, and then, still being around book kids, and this is their willingness to be blunt with you, but and critique you, but in such a loving way. You always know it comes from a good place with the people that you find in these organizations.
Right, man. And that's true. And that's it. That's what's hard, because I'm a victim of that. I fall into that sometimes where I'm like, I stop believing in myself or in other people when they say that they're going to do something. And it's like, dude, that's not your call. You don't know what they're capable of. Right. There is something to that. There is something to the skeptics line up right away, and book people are not often skeptics when you tell them things that you're planning on doing, especially if they're big. In fact, the bigger they are, the more likely they are to believe in you. So that's been what's cool about the show is that after the show, guests talk to us and they're all like, "This is so cool what you're doing. Like, you're gonna make it far." This is like, and it's like, wow, I needed to hear that, even because you forget sometimes, and and it's like so cool to be part of that environment. And I'm sure you're still getting that, right, with Nick and Sam and all the other folks that you're working with. So good stuff.
100%. Yeah.
Glad you came back. Glad you came back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's work through maybe like some of like the highlights of your career, and then we can jump to ponytails.
Yeah, that sounds good. So let's see here. Second summer, I sold in Texas, in Tejas. I was in Harker Heights, Texas. Actually, I lived in Harker Heights, which was like in between Waco and Austin, Texas. And so, yeah, super hot. Not a good place to not be on schedule. That's another thing. You might as well just stay working because it's way hotter taking a break and sitting in your car than it is just going to that next door and getting inside and talking to a family. So just go work. Yeah. It's way easier.
If anything, if you didn't hear anything else up to this point, that's the thing. Go work.
Yeah. So yeah, I was in Texas that second summer. Highlights from that second summer, honestly, it becomes such a blur with that many summers together and it being such a similar experience each summer. Like I said, I sold like 700 units that summer. The next summer after that, I was in Texas again. I was in Sherman, Texas, which this isn't necessarily a ponytail. It's just a funny story. So
we're here for it.
So our host family, I should say host dad, if you will, not a dad. Again, each summer I've had to knock on doors for to find places for us to live. And so the third summer we didn't have a spot to live. We were staying in an extended stay called the Travelers Inn. It was like some trucker extended stay. It was sketchy, but it was a good time. I remember being excited that we could come back after knocking and watch the NBA Finals. That was the year that was 2017. So that was the year that LeBron was going up against I think
Warriors.
That was the Warriors.
Great,
and I think
great series.
Series.
Yeah.
And so
Game
that was
6
hype.
and he fucking stops Iguodala. Yeah.
So that was hype coming back to that. But I remember Matt Ross sent me a Craigslist ad for this person renting out a room on the end of their double wide trailer. And so me and Sam Warner hop in a car, I call this guy first, and he picks up and he's like, "Yeah, who is it?" And I was like, "This is Austin. I'm calling about the ad you have on Craigslist." He's like, "Why are you from Michigan?" And I was like, well, I'm a college student down here for an internship. I'll have 2 other roommates with me. We're looking for a place for the summer. He's like, "I don't know, man. This kind of seems like a scam." And I was like, "Do you mind if we just meet up?" He's like, "Yeah, that's fine. Come on over." And so we get over there. On the ad, it says he's married. And when we get out of the car, he looks at Sam and I. And first of all, I should say, we pull up to the house and he has like this, I can't remember. It's a geo tracker. You know what a geo tracker looks like? It's like a really boxy looking SUV, but he had spray painted it himself, like camo, and he had a motorcycle outside. And dude, this guy was like the most racist, like homophobic, like you name it. But he went to church every
Texas.
Sunday. Yeah, he was from Texas.
He was the person you think of that's from Texas. And I'm not saying all Texas are like this. I'm just saying he was for sure from Texas. That guy was for sure from Texas.
Exactly. Like bald head. On the back of his camo geo tracker, it said "F you Islam," like just like the most outlandish stuff ever. And
wow.
we get out of the car, and the first thing he says to Sam and I is, "You two aren't homos, are you?" And I was like, "Whoa, like take it easy, man. Like, come on now." He's like, "That's why."
No, but jeez.
We're not good looking enough. Come on, man. But he's like, "All right, And he's like, that's cool with me, but that's why I put I have a wife in my ad so I don't get any anyway. And so get any character is what he said.
What a
So he
fucking
didn't have-
asshole.
Yeah, he didn't have a wife. All he had was a dog. And so he takes us into the room he had built on the end of his double wide trailer. It was like a 10 by 10 living room where we would stack all our books, and then there was a bathroom and then a bedroom, and the place had fleas. And the guy's name, I never learned the guy's last name. I know his first name was James, but everyone calls him Wingnut. But anyway, we come to find out after living there the entire summer, sleeping 3 to a queen size bed in that back room, that he used to manufacture methamphetamines. He was like one of the biggest meth manufacturers and distributors in Sherman, Texas. And he got out of it because he got his head bashed in with a baseball bat outside a bar once, and was getting too much heat. But he was now a like born again Christian and going to church every Sunday. You know, despite his like outward appearance, he actually had a pretty soft spot to him, and some decent qualities about him. But I definitely learned not how to live my life living that summer with Wingnut. I mean,
nice.
he would bring home hookers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Real, and then on Sunday go to church.
Yeah, and then on Sunday go to church. I remember him coming in one night after getting home from knocking, and him being like, "Hey guys, I got this girl out here. She'd offer $10 for a BJ if you guys want." And we're like, "I think we're good." And then we just slide our separation.
We believe in low expenses, sir, but that's you pay what you get, right? You get what you pay.
Yeah. I don't think I can enter that into my expense report at checkout.
Yeah, that's not a business report. That's not a write-off.
No, not whatsoever. So
that
was the highlight of that summer, living with Wingnut. And then my fourth summer, yeah. And then my fourth summer, I was in South Carolina, right across from Augusta, Georgia, and we lived in Aiken, South Carolina, right across from Augusta, Georgia. That was a cool area. We had this house to ourselves. There were 7 of us, all on air mattresses in this house. We all shared one bathroom. It was absolutely ridiculous. Do you know Alex Silva by chance?
I do not know Alex Silva. No.
Okay, so Alex Silva was with me then, and it was me and one other like experienced rep, and then 4 other rookies. And so that was a cool summer there. But some of my highlights, like I guess, should we jump into like the ponytail part of this?
Yeah, if you want to, we can go to the ponytails. It's about
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me talk a little bit about our last couple of sponsors, and then yeah, dude. But first of all, a comment on Wingnut. I mean, you had the dollar store Heisenberg from Breaking Bad as a host.
Yeah, bro.
That's
Basically,
like,
let me see if I can. Yeah, here I got a picture for you. Let me show you what Wingnut looks like.
Hell yeah, I want to see Wingnut. And it's a good thing we don't know his name, so that way it won't be a legal issue.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude,
yeah.
This guy is a clown.
Damn. While you find that, a word from our partner from EnLight. All right, guys. EnLight.Energy is a solar company, and they are crushing it. So Julio Hernandez, we actually talked a little bit about him. We had a pretty funny story from Naomi James last episode with Julio. He former DSF, but now he moved on and is currently owns and runs a solar company that is looking for people to go work with. So they do work remote. You can work from wherever. Purchase leads if you want them. And if you're in Florida specifically, they're looking for people to go door to door. Control your own schedule. You can do a part-time, you can do a full-time, but as we know, similar to pest control and some other industries, when you go solar, it is a lucrative contract, and so you can actually get paid. I think solar pays more than most door-to-door opportunities, and if you're looking for something to do, and you live in Florida specifically, God, give us a call. We'll get you guys hooked up. Julio, they are looking for people to join them this summer working. I work with them. Cannot say better things about that company. They are awesome. Love him lots. And that is it. That is it for now.
Cool.
My guy. So, did you find this picture of Wingnut?
I found him. So this is Wingnut.
Wait. Text me this, and I will.
Okay.
I will share it to the screen and put it on the. Oh, also, by the way, I found this. Check it out.
Yes, there it is. So it's like that basically. That's
Oh
perfect.
my god! Nothing says I live in Texas than a camo geo tracker. Ting.
Right?
That's,
All right, just sent it to you.
Okay, let's see. I'll put it up. Here we go. I can pull it up here. This is hilarious, folks. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can join us on YouTube at this point. It's about an hour and 10 minutes into the show, and you can see a picture of this incredible human being. Incredible, more not necessarily as a positive, just like really just hard to believe that that is a human being. Where the heck? How do I?
And that we
open
lived
this?
with him for an entire summer and kept
Yeah, that-
probably close to $15,000, maybe $20,000 worth of cash in that bedroom.
Wild.
Yeah.
What is this? I don't even know what this is. Okay, hang on. Let me close this so we can get a full screen of this guy. All right. Bear with us. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go.
Drum roll.
Oh, no, you can't see it. What the heck?
Should I just
Oh,
put
man.
it on this camera again?
Yeah, you pull it on
My
the
phone?
screen from now. I'm trying to figure out how we can share this because it's StreamYard. Oh, my God. What a gentleman. What
I love that his camo pants match his camo geo tracker. That's my favorite. You know, you can say a lot of things about James, a lot of bad things, but what you can't say about him is he lacks style. That's for sure. Let me see if I got
He's
another
very on
picture.
brand.
Here we go. Here's him in his motorcycle, and then his geo tracker in the back.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
So,
go. Boom.
There it is. That's James Wingnut, baby.
You
Biggest
guys
meth
aren't homos, are you?
dealer in Sherman, Texas. So
Wow.
Hopefully
He's
you
not
never-
a fan of gay people, so sorry about that. We're not a fan of him necessarily. This
Yes.
podcast is not affiliated with James Wingnut.
yes, whatsoever.
But what a character. What a human. Wow. I wonder who he voted for. You know? Just
That's a good question.
big mystery.
I would
Wonder-
say probably Bernie. I feel like he's feeling the burn.
He looks like a Bernie fan for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No,
100%.
Pete Buttigieg, the gay candidate, you know, for sure that guy.
Yeah.
Obviously not
100%.
Trump. 100% not Trump.
No.
Not at all.
not-
Couldn't
not
imagine
whatsoever.
that. If you can't hear the sarcasm in her voice, Jesus. All right, time for some funny tales. Hey man, so it's your mic. You can share as many of these as you want. Sometimes people share one, sometimes people share 12. It's your call.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, one of my favorite never quit on a day stories from my second summer was I was out in the boonies of Texas driving my silver sled. I drove a Buick LeSabre all 4 summers, and it had like 300 plus miles, 1,000 miles on it. But anyway, terrible handling because those steering wheels are obviously made for old people to be able to turn. So like it had so much sag in it, and so you would basically turn the wheel halfway to be able to start cornering. But I remember I was like, it was a really hot day. It was like 3 o'clock. I was still on zero. I had just knocked on this trailer out in the middle of nowhere, and for some reason used their front door, which was it was like a trailer that was 10 feet in the air, at least the front door. So there was wooden steps up to it, and there was weeds growing through the wooden steps. If I knew what I was doing, would not have knocked on that door. But anyway, got up to the door, knocked on it, and I just get attacked by a swarm of wasps and just get stung 5, 6, 7 times. And at that point, it's only week 3. I think it was week 3. And for me, I'm okay, after that was kind of rattled. I was just kicking myself in the just getting my ass kicked basically. And the first thought was like, man, I do not want to be doing this right now. I should just go, just find somewhere just to collect my thoughts for a second. That was always my trigger, was like, I just need to take a breather. And so like, that's another piece of advice I have, is like, find out if you, have a trigger, and, find any way to have a stack to be able to avoid that. But anyway, side tangent. Kept driving.
It's so good.
Luckily didn't pull off on the side of the road. Like an hour later, still on zero. It's like 4:00. There's a cow in the middle of the road on this dirt road. And I freaking Tokyo drift around this cow going like 40 miles per hour. Somehow keep that sled between the ditches. Do not go off the road. Do not hit the cow. Still rattled at this point. And now it's like 5, 6 o'clock at night. And my tea I had for the day, I can't remember what it was. Oh no, sorry. At that point, it was like more like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And I had already started working through the turf I worked through earlier that day, and already burned through that. And I was like, well, I could either go knock cold houses for the rest of the gravy, or I could go back to this one town where I know there are like maybe 5 or 6 people who I haven't caught up with, and they were all Hispanic families. And I was like, that's like 10 minutes away, or this new stuff is like, I don't know, like a mile up the road. And I was like, you know what? I just have this feeling I'm going to go back. And so I go back to Saluda, Texas, where I was selling, knock on the first places, like the first store, sit down with them and sell, I think like a 5 set. I was like, okay, let's go. Got a little momentum. We're off 0, 7 o'clock. Go. And then they recommend me to another friend who had already told me no. And so I go up the street, and then they're like, no, we said no. I'm speaking like broken English. Get in the door by showing them the picture I just took with the last people. And then they bought a math set. And so now we're feeling it. We're going, we're at like, I don't know, what is that? Like 50, like 40, 50 some units at that point, somewhere around there. And then come to find out during that sit down that a lot of the Hispanic families thought that I was like a child predator, because one couldn't speak English, or couldn't speak Spanish, and I was speaking broken English with them. And so all I would do is like say, mi vende libros para los niños, which is, I think I sell kids books or something like that.
I sell books for the kids.
Yeah, I sell books for the kids.
That's like saying I have a van and I have popsicles.
Yeah, and I would just show them pictures of me with families and kids. And so I guess there was just a rumor that I was like a child predator.
Look at my victims.
Yeah. But anyway, go to another Hispanic family they recommend, sell them a 6 set. And then at that point, it's like 10 o'clock at night. They had recommended me. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, your AirPods said, I think. That's okay.
Okay. But anyway, and then they recommended me one more family, knocked on that door at like 10:30 at night, and then sold another core 4. And so like between like 7 o'clock and like 10:30, 11 o'clock, sold so like over 100 units. I can't remember exactly what it was, but just felt so good. Just because of, what my summers were typically like, and, what I would have typically done on a day like that. And so that was something that I would put in a cookie jar for, for future times when I, wanted to just, pull off and take a break.
Dude, that's cool. I love how most book people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, I had a day like that too. But, it's so special to each of us. It's kind of like a dog. It's like, I don't really care about your dog, but my dog's cool, but I need that to hold on to. Like, I listened to the story. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cool to hear about. Like, it's a common story, but that's not important. What's important is the lesson that you learn, dude, how that day could have changed your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you like quit that day.
Yeah.
What would you hang on to? And how would that not have been able to, oh man. And you clear your name as a child predator, which really is a huge positive. Yeah. Very, very good.
100%. So yeah, that was one of my favorite, like, never give up on a day stories. Another fun story. This was more of just like a funny story, not of like a pony. At the end of it, it was my first summer. in Asheville, North Carolina area. I was in I knocked on this like trailer out in the middle of nowhere. Knocked on a lot of trailers. I think I knocked on too many trailers, to be honest. If you can't tell that there's a theme of the houses I would knock on. But anyway.
Double wides, trailers, racist dudes.
In the middle of the country, a white siding trailer with the sun just beating off of that white siding trailer, and they tell you that you have to do the sit down on the porch, and you're just dripping sweat into the book while you're demoing. That's my kind of sit down. But
yes, you'll like this.
I remember I got in, or the lady or the mom at the door was like, I don't think you should come in right now. My son's kind of sick. I was like, that's okay. Like, I'll just sit like far away from him. So I'm in there. The son's on the couch. He definitely looks sick. I'm doing the demo to the mom, and all of a sudden I just hear him start to, like, he had a trash can next to him. I just start to hear him gag a little bit, and then he starts throwing up into the trash can, which I don't have like too weak of a stomach, so like noise and like the sound of someone throwing up doesn't really set me off. But dude, the smell of this man's vomit was absolutely atrocious, and so that started getting me going. I started to feel my gag reflex go. And then I threw up all over myself in this mom's chair. And so now her son's throwing up. I'm throwing up on myself. Long story short, she did not buy the books.
Oh, shit. That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal, dude. Ouch.
Yeah, that was...
and the PR. Oh.
Yeah, the PR was great.
Does the puke kid come by with you? The book kid with the puke? Has a puking kid come by your house yet, Tamara?
Yeah, right. And then another, like, I don't know. There's so many, and you know this too, that after like doing it for so long, all of it just kind of blends together at a certain point.
Yeah.
Got thrown in the back of a cop car once. That was fun.
Hell yeah.
Still made it through the rest of that day. Didn't stop after that. So that was like another cool little like nugget in my little cookie jar of like not quitting on a day.
I got a question for you.
Sorry.
Tell me the coolest thing you did while off schedule. We can wrap it with, put a bow in it with that.
Yeah.
The most fun thing, or the craziest thing, or the most like wild thing. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but it's just like your favorite thing that you did while you were off schedule.
Dude, it was probably my first summer. I was in like obviously Asheville. And I just drove the Blue Ridge Mountain Parkway through there, and I pulled off on like these like overlooks of the valley, and like was reading a book at the time. Actually, I think I was reading The Greatest Salesman in the World.
If you've never been off schedule until you read that book. Yeah, it's a great book. It
is a great book. And then I just drove that whole like parkway. And I remember one time I went and saw the new I saw Jurassic World on my birthday by myself. That was the most depressing thing ever. What else? The day I drove the parkway, like it ended coming down from the mountains, and at the base of the mountain was this amazing like ice cream parlor. And I had the best ice cream cone ever. And I just sat there depressed, licking that ice cream cone because I knew I should be working, but that ice cream was amazing. So
that's epic, dude. No, honestly, a couple of things to what you said. One, going to the movies by yourself is actually a very nice experience.
It is.
It's very pleasant. It's strange, especially in the summer. It's a pleasant experience. If you're off schedule, don't be. But if you have to be, you should go to the movies. It's cheap. You can get it for $5. Yeah. It's a good way to kill a couple hours. And honestly, like I kept doing it after I sold books. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the movies by myself. It's nice. Yeah. Like it's a good experience.
It is. It's sad on your birthday when you know you're supposed to be working.
Yes. I was going to say, yes, that is a thing. And two, I also did the thing my third summer where I found where the good ice cream was. Yeah. And this is why, I was already off schedule. Like I was super off schedule my third summer, but I'm a huge Formula One fan. I don't know if you've ever heard of Formula One, but it's awesome. And Mario Andretti, who was a Formula One champion, lived in this where I was selling. In fact, I knocked on his door, but people often told me that he would go get ice cream at this ice cream shop. There was like a mom and pop shop. You know the place. It's like a really small, like it's the cute college girl working.
Yep.
Have a nice day. You're like, I'm gonna come back to this ice cream shop again for sure. Because she's like, what are you doing? I'm in college. I'm in college too. I'm taking college, Central Community College, or whatever. And you're like, cool. Yeah. Anyway, so I was like, shit. One of these summer nights, I run into the guy. Like, what if I run into the legend? Yeah. And so on the days where I was like off schedule, or like the day was, I'm like, I'm not locking cold houses in the dark. I'm just gonna go get ice cream. Never ran into the guy until I knocked on his door. But there's something nice about a good ice cream, to cope with your depression of being off schedule and guilt. And shame. Absolutely. It goes down better with ice cream. I mean, because you could have the guilt anyway.
Exactly.
But it's nice with a chocolate scoop.
But probably just stay on schedule and then buy all the fucking ice cream in the world you want in the summer.
100%. That's definitely the better way. I mean, what we're saying is not a recommended thing. But if that's what you're going to do anyway, because you already know it, and there's nothing really anybody can tell you to not do it, and you know it. I know it. You know it. People who've been off schedule know it. Might as well go get some ice cream.
Yeah.
Let the guilt go down with chocolate. And that could be our bow for this wonderful episode about you puking onto a customer's chair. Rough, dude. That's rough. Yeah. It's brutal. Yeah. My man Aaron. Well, Austin, I called you Aaron because I was thinking of Aaron Raleigh and Nick Warner and all the folks. I was going to give you guys a shout out. If you guys want to go listen to a little bit more about episodes that involve learning a little bit more about what Aptive is doing, if you want to be interested in Aptive, and if you want to learn a bit more about what they're all about and how to get involved, you can listen to Nick Warner's episode that aired April 1st. I think that was 104. You can go listen to Aaron Raleigh's, which I think was episode 86 or 87. And then you can obviously go back and listen. If you're just not tuning in, you can go back to the beginning of this one. Austin Heron is about to go embark on a mission of badass success in his summer with Aptive. My guy, I wish you the best of luck in just good fortune, good door knocking, happy hunting season. It's a good this part of the summer right before you go sell books is a really cool feeling when you're about to just really do something big. I could tell you're really like relaxed with it. I could tell you're very confident what you're about to go do. So I know you're going to continue with this trajectory of continuous growth throughout all your summers. And so this is going to be your best summer yet. I'm looking forward to it. Keep in touch, my man. You have my phone number. Please, if you see some funny, you know what would be good if you could do for me is if you could send me some funny pictures from the book field or from the field in general.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you always run into some funny shit. So text it to us. It'd be kind of fun to have book kids do that too, so we can highlight it on episodes on the air.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Hope you enjoyed your time, guys. We're going to leave you with this one. Be sure you tune in on Thursday, 7 Central. We have Roger Sipe in the house. It's going to be a very, very fun episode. Everybody knows Roger Sipe from the Advanced Sales Tape. We'll catch you on that one. April 22nd is going to be our party in Nashville. If you guys want to join to that, keep an eye out for the RSVPs or send us a message so you know how you can RSVP for that. And of course, make sure you subscribe, likes, follow, review, all that jazz. My man Austin, have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody. This has been episode 108 of the Ponytails Podcast. See you next one.